Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Uh, Here we are going to talk about in unit number 7 we are going to talk about the air pollution. You remember that in the beginning in unit number 1 and 2 we talk about various sources of the pollution for contaminating the water, soil and the air. Air pollution is one of the biggest issue, especially in our region in Royal Commission also because of the large number of the industrial setup available in this region, which are emitting not only the liquid pollution like the wastewater and the solid waste as well as the gaseous emission like in terms of the carbon dioxide and other gases. So we will talk about this air pollution in this presentation. Air pollution is very important issue for any country and any uh, region globally. In this presentation, we are going to talk about the atmosphere, what is atmosphere, why it is important. It is our resource which we should protect. And also we talk about the various types of and the sources of the air pollution, in which we will talk about the major classes of the air pollutant, sources of the air pollutant, their characteristics, and then effect of the air pollution in detail. We will then later on talk about the controlling meteorology, dispersion of the air pollution to control the air pollution, different techniques. So, as a basic definition, that any visible or invisible particulate or gas found in the air that is not part of the original is air pollution. If you remember, when we talk about the pollution, we talk that anything which is above the normal concentration in the environment is called as the pollution. Even it is oxygen, if it is more than the initial concentration in the air, that oxygen will become a pollutant. So in the air pollution, anything which is making the air non-usable for us, which is not safe for our use, like there are particulate material, there are some gases, whether it is any harmful gases or even the oxygen and other gases. If it is exceeding the limit, then it is harmful for us and this become the pollution for us. So this is the air pollution. So when we talk about the air pollution, it is very important. Why? It is more important than the soil pollution on the water pollution, because we can live without food for longer time and for without water for few days, but without air we cannot live for few minutes. So it is more important than any other pollution sources. Air pollution is one of the important uh, issue which is making everybody alert to handle this problem in the environment. And we know that if there is something wrong in the air, it can make us sick, it can give the disease to the people, it can make the environment not usable for living, as well as it can create an unhealthy environment. So WHO, World Health Organization, they said that more than a billion people, they are living in in those area where the air quality is not good, and they are or they estimated that around 8,000 people are being killed all over the world because of this air pollution every year. If we are talking about the air pollution, we should uh, classify the different type of the air pollutants to understand more clearly. Basically, we divide the air pollution into two classes: the primary air pollutant and secondary air pollutants. So these two categories saying that the primary are those pollutants which are harmful, that is emitted directly into the atmosphere, like the primary pollutants we defined, which are directly emitted from the source, that is the primary pollutant, which are combining with any other pollutant making the secondary pollutant. So the secondary air pollutant are harmful substances which are formed in the atmosphere when a primary air pollutants like carbon dioxide, dust particle, anything with combining with the any substance normally found in the atmosphere, or with any other air pollutants like the smoke, as I give you the example in the unit number 3 and or 2. So the pollutants which are creating the air pollution are generally basically coming from the human activities, like the industrial setups, the houses, the forest, and the burning of the fuel, and the even the forest fire, painting. There are various sources, so it can emit the gases in terms of the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and different nitrogen oxides. And most of the carbon hydrocarbon emitting from the cars exhaust and many other machineries then can emit not only hydrocarbon, the particulate material, the metallic particles, as well as the silica particles. Once they will react with the moisture in the air, it will make like the carbonic acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, various type of the pollutant it can make. This is called the secondary air pollutants. Sources could be classified as natural and unnatural. Natural sources, like I told you, the dust storm, rain, forest fire, various things are which are giving us the direct pollution in the environment coming from the natural source. And natural, like man-made things, like the vehicle discharge, the gases emission from the cars, right? Operating the factories, the industry, they are emitting the gases. So all these are the unnatural, which are man-made, you can say. If you look into the atmosphere, why it is important, what is in the atmosphere? Atmosphere having air, and air having maximum concentration of the nitrogen. More than 78% is nitrogen, and oxygen is around 20 to 21% in the air. There are some other gases in very small concentration in points. They are also making the our air. So this is the composition of the air, and or in term of the atmosphere, you can say that the atmospheric concentration. What is the ecosystem? The ecosystem is the environment around us, which is keeping balance in our living. So in the ecosystem, what is happening in the environment, in the air, the this atmosphere, which are in terms of the gases, in terms of the particulate material, it will block the UV radiation, which is coming from the solar energy. It will moderate the climate also. This, if there is no air around us, our climate will be very harsh, and it will also redistribute the water in the hydrologic cycle, like the making the vapors from the sea water and the river water, making clouds, and the clouds are again coming back in terms of the rain into our ground. So this is the ecosystem service provided by the atmosphere. If we look into the characteristics in detail about the air pollution, you can see that there are various type of the gases present, and the five major pollutants which are we are always looking for to control them are the carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate material, small dust particle, and the ground level ozone. So remember, these five uh, major pollutants are very important in the air. This is the detail about the each, like the particulate material could be very small dust particle, it could be metal, lead particle, it could be even the droplets of the sulfuric acid and any other acids. So these are different type of the pollutants can be present in the air. This is the composition in the formula term, and whether it is primary pollutant or secondary, this column is showing that one, and their characteristic. These are solids or gases, the colors and various characteristics are given here. Again, this slide is just to give you the idea about the major air pollutants and their characteristics. Let us look into little bit more depth into the carbon monoxide and the sulfur dioxide. Other thing, the carbon monoxide is colorless and odorless gas. It is very poisonous, but the problem is that if it is colorless and odorless, you will not know that it is present in the atmosphere, so it is very harmful for us. So, and generally it produced when carbon, like in the vehicle or in the fuel burning, it will not burn properly, so it will not produce carbon dioxide, it will produce carbon monoxide, which is more reactive and poisonous. And generally it is present in the car exhaust also if it is not burning fuel properly, and it will damage the our body, causing the headache, fatigue, so you cannot think properly, you cannot see properly. So this is the problem with the carbon monoxide. Sulfur dioxide is also one of the gas which is produced from the coal and fuel oil burning, and generally the power plants and the industry which are using this fuel for operating their plant, they are releasing this sulfur dioxide. Once it will go to the human being, when you will have the sulfur dioxide in the air, it will cause the your coughing, sneezing, breathing problem and other sickness in the human being. Similarly, nitrogen dioxide having similar problem, it is reddish brown color gas, and it will actually produce when nitric oxide coming from the industry react with the oxygen in the atmosphere, it will form the nitrogen dioxide. It is also produced by the car and the other vehicles and the machineries. It will affect again the lungs and causing the wheezing, infections, and the like the rubu, this kind of the thing. If there are particulate material like the dust particles, then the different type of the particles are there. Some are smaller, some are bigger. So different size of the particle present in the atmosphere. Generally, they are coming from burning of the fuel like the coal and the oil and other things. So this dust, in terms of the dust and smoke, they will come into the atmosphere. And again, once it will go to our respiratory system, it will cause problem in breathing, and it can even cause the problem for the heart and the lung. It can cause the diseases of the lungs and the heart, and it can cause lot of infection in the respiratory system. Level oxygen and the ozone, if you remember, we talk about that, and which is sometimes called as the smoke. When the we talk about the ozone, there is a ozone layer around our earth, our biosphere, at the high level, which is called as the upper level ozone, which is helpful for us. It is protecting us from the UV radiation. But if it is in the ground, producing from some activity, then it is harmful for us because it is very reactive, and generally it comes from the power plant, the chemical plants discharge. And once it is there, it will, because it is very reactive, it will cause the irritation in the respiratory system, yani reaction in the respiratory system, which can react with the mucous membrane of the lungs and other thing. So it can cause the asthma, breathing problem, and many other problem related to the lungs. So if these things are there, it can react together, and again it can form the smoke, which we already discussed before. The smoke is the secondary type of the pollutant in the air. So once these gases react with the dust particle or the gases emission from the vehicle, right? So it will make the smoke, which is a combination of the smoke and the fog. So this is one of the thing, and it is causing lot of problem in the environment. So in the environment, if we look into the subsurface or upper surface of the earth, there are various material. In the upper surface of the earth, there are some gases which is having a layer of the ozone at the upper strata of the our atmosphere, and which is actually protecting us from the UV radiation coming from the sun. It is actually not allowing this UV radiation to that wavelength to enter to the biosphere, because this is harmful for us. This, once this radiation will reach to human being, it will damage the skin, it will cause the cancer, skin cancer, and various other health problems. So this is actually protecting us. If this will be removed, this ozone will be damaged, then these radiation will reach to the surface of the earth through the people. And once it was studied in the past, in 1985 it was discovered that there is a big ozone hole in the atmosphere above the Antarctica, over the Antarctica, and they found that there is a ozone layer missing from here, and the UV radiation are easily entering to the earth from this region. So how this ozone depletion occurred, ozone layer disappeared because of the release of various gases coming from the industry or various activity like the CFC gases, chlorofluorocarbon. This we generally use for air conditioning. This was actually causing this one. Once the ozone is depleted from the surface, the UV radiation will reach to us and it will can cause various problems to us, the eye problem, skin problem, immunity problem. So it can damage our ecosystem, our crops, and the forest can also be damaged because of this radiation coming to the earth. So this is one of the important issue. Recovery of the ozone layer, one of the issue people were working on that in 1987. There was a summit, there was a big conference in Montreal, which is called they made an agreement among the countries, which is called the Montreal Protocol, and they agreed that everybody should reduce the emission of the CFC. The country should not release these gases during their industrial activities. Also, they uh, they also uh, talk about that they should use some other gases instead of CFC, SCFC, that is called as the greenhouse gas for our industrial use. And also they want to uh, remove all those chemicals from the industry to stop the ozone depletion. And once they did the study in year 2000 in for the atmosphere satellite study, they found that the ozone layer is recovering, and they estimated that by the year 2050 the this hole will be covered, it will again recover. So that is the action has been taken, and this will be the result in the future. As we know, like the previous slides, there are various effects of the air pollution. If you are for living in an environment where air is polluted for short time, there are some effect like eye problem, inflammation to the respiratory system, mainly eyes, and the lungs are affected. So these are the things can cause because of the air pollution. Similarly, the children are more affected to the air pollution as compared to the elders, because children their the immune system, or they are weaker as compared to the healthy person, the grown up person, so they get very quickly these kind of the problems. So again the same problem can adult, but it will be more than the adults. So they can get that asthma and other lung problems. This just explaining little bit more in detail about the if there is long-term exposure to the air pollution, it can cause the two type of the effect. One is called the acute effects, which is called as the immediate and effect. And for example, somebody is in that goes to that environment where air is polluted, he will quickly get the coughing. But if he will come out, then it will be recovered. So it is a reversible process if it is a acute effect. But if somebody is stayed in an environment for long time, he will get the chronic effect, and that effect will uh, cannot be repaired. If he will get this problem like asthma, he cannot be cured from this disease. So this is the chronic effect. The acute effect can be reversible, but the chronic effect cannot be reversible. This details, a few slides are in detail showing the effect of the different pollutant like the carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and other oxide, their physical characteristics, from where they are coming, the sources, and what are the health effects it can cause. So these and also the other effect related to the community and other overall effect shown here. So these slides are showing us the total effect of these different types of the pollutants and what it can cause. So just to give you the idea about that. Similarly, those gases which we call the greenhouse gases, like I told you, the carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitric oxide, all these are the greenhouse gases. When it will go to the atmosphere, it will react with the water. So once it will be reacting with the water, then it will come with the rain having the acids. the sulfur dioxide can make the sulfuric acid, nitric oxide make the nitric acid. So that clouds will bring the acid to the environment. And also because of these gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and CFCs and other gases, it will cause the global warming. The temperature of our earth will continuously increase. So it will, these are the some other problems related to the air pollution. Let us think about, once we know the problem, we should be able to solve those problems. So what are the principle of control and source control? What are the things? Source control is actually one of the best method to control the air pollution. So you can control at the source, like in the industries which are discharging this thing. You can put some equipment controlling measure. You can provide some rules and the regulations, some laws, so they should not discharge this kind of the thing. And for example, this is one of the example. For example, there is a gas station. When the tanker bring the gasoline, it will fill the tank, and if it will fill the tank, the air present here, it will exhaust to the environment. So how you can control that? You can provide an extra tank, vapor tank, piping system, which can take this all the vapors back to the tank, so it will not go to the environment. So this is vapor recovery system for the gasoline. You can provide this kind of the solution. There are some equipments you can put in the chimneys of the industries, because these gases, once it is coming from here, it can be harmful. So you can put these kind of the electrostatic precipitators. So these precipitators can collect the dust particle and some of the gases also. It will not allow the harmful particle going outside the environment, to the environment. So it can be collected, right? Like here, the gas is containing lot of solid particles. So if you provide the electrostatic precipitator having the charges, so it will attract all the solid particle. You can collect this as a dust from here, and the clean air will go out. So these are the things which you can provide in the industries to control the discharge. Similarly, there are settling chambers like this one, have a similar thing are there. Once this gas is going to this scrubber, directly emission of these gases are harmful, so you can pass through these scrubbers. The scrubber will remove all the pollutants, because there are various layers of the liquid spray. There is some entrap separator are there, like a filter. There is jet of the spray also there. So that will actually collect all the harmful material, and the clean gas will go out. So this is another type of the equipment which is called the settling chamber. There are various settling chamber and cyclone collectors are there, which can be utilized in the industry to control the air pollution. So there are other ways also to improve the air pollution. In fact, the the sulfur content in the gasoline which we are using is 330 ppm, and according to the environmental pollution control, they treat the gasoline and bring the concentration of sulfur up to 30 ppm. So once it will release, it will not cause much problems. So sulfur content in the gasoline has been reduced. Now which you are getting in the market, it is having very low sulfur content. In the previously, it was having high sulfur content up to 330 ppm. Also, when you use the vehicle, you should be regularly tested. Emission should be checked, like we go for fast for the vehicle. So all these vehicle using the fuel, the petrol as well as the diesel, it should be checked regularly. When there is a pollution in the air, you should have some instrument to measure the air pollution. Like in the Royal Commission, if you see at various locations, they put air monitoring systems, and they are measuring the concentration of the various gases. For example, the concentration of carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, these are measured all the time, all over the world. Like the data is showing in 1970, the carbon monoxide is very high. It was very high, up to 200 tons per year. But now it reduced to around 90 or something like that. Same for other gases. So in 2006, now even it reduced much more than that. So this is because of the Clean Air Act. This Clean Air Act was made by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and they provide the limit to the industries and any pollutant emitters, whether it is industry or any other activity. They should not discharge these gases to more than allowable. So and they concentrate mainly on six pollutant like the lead, particulate material, which are shown here. So including the carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and ozone. So these are the pollutants they always measure, and if any industry discharging more than their allowable limit, they stop that industry. Air quality index help us to find out the level of the pollution, because we are looking in terms of the number, how much is the value of the air pollutants. So they give the value from 0 to 500. The higher the value, the more pollution in that area. So the air quality index are always calculated and find that whether it is within the limit or not. Generally, if the air quality index is 0 to 50, it is called as it is a good air quality. If it is 51 to 100, then it is a moderate air quality. If otherwise it will it can reach to 300, and it's very unhealthy, and people should not live in that area. And these are the effect of this air quality index level. Air pollution measurement and emission is one of the important thing, especially in the industry. You can measure the ambient air, yani the normal air. You can collect the sample of the air and measure the air pollutants in that one. And source, at the source, like you go to the industries from where the air pollutants are coming, you can measure over there, right? Why we do that? Because there are laws, so we have to meet the laws. So legal requirements are there. Like in Saudi Arabia, we have environmental control departments. In Royal Commission also, they are having the allowable limits for discharge. So we check always, right? Also, we always check to the air pollution in that area to find out that whether the instruments are working properly or not. These devices are controlling the air pollution or not, right? And to if the concentration is more in the air, we should stop those sources which are emitting this air pollutants. So the control the pollutants concentration, we measure the air the pollutants in the air. Concentration of the air pollutant can be determined two ways. One is the instantaneous. For example, you just go to the any place which in where you feel that there is some problem, take the sample and find out the what is the concentration of the pollutant. Or you can put an instrument like here in the Juvel, and it will continuously measure the concentration with time, and at the end of the day it will calculate the average concentration like by this formula, right? Delta T is the for the time, how much for 1 day or 2 day you collected the sample, and concentration for example for every hour. You take the integral of that, yani you add all of the value, take the average with respect to time, and this is the average concentration for whole day or for whole week, something like that. So that is the average concentration. So you can measure by averaging or just taking the direct sample. So these two type of the sample you can collect and find out the concentration of the pollutant in the air. In the air, the air actually is a movable thing. It is a dynamic thing. Air move from one point to another point. So it is a called as atmospheric thermodynamics, because there is variability in the velocity, variability in the temperature also in the environment. Maybe at the near the surface temperature is more, above the surface it is low. Atmospheric stability also important. Though if the movement of air is fast, it is unstable. If it is a smooth flow of the air, it is called as a stable atmosphere. Also, the effect of meteorology on the plume dispersion. Plume dispersion is that, for example, from some of the industry, when the gases are coming, how it will spread. If the wind is very fast, it will spread very quickly. If the smooth air is flowing, then it will go like a smooth plume. So it affects the environmental pollution. This I will inshallah explain you in the blackboard, these problems. This is simply that if you know the pressure, gauge pressure of any atmosphere, if you add that atmospheric pressure in that one, this is which is a constant value, 101.3 kilopascal, that is the atmospheric pressure constant value, then you can get the absolute pressure. So this is one of the example for that. Atmospheric stability, as I told you, it depends on the movement of the air. If atmosphere is slowly moving, the motion is slow, then it is a stable atmosphere. Like how they define this atmospheric stability, they said that if I have a packet of air in the air, or parcel of the air, right? Any small unit volume of the air, if that uh, is moving up or down or right or left, it is moving fast or slow, then we can define the stability. If it is moving slowly, it is moving, for example, lifting exert on them, and it will stop in the air, then it is a stable environment. Stability is there. If the parcel of the air is moving vertically its own, and it is just moving, and then after exerting some pressure it will stop, then it is unstable atmosphere. So if the air particles or the parcel is tend to remain where they are, it is not moving up, it is not moving anywhere, so it is a neutral stability of the atmosphere. So these are the three classification of the stability of the air. This is showing the classification of different conditions, like the extremely unstable environment, moderate stable environment. They classified as A, B, C, D to define that one. And this is depending, this stability depending on the temperature. This occurs at when the temperature difference in the atmosphere uh, eh, for 100 meter is up to 1.9 degree centigrade, and you can say that around 2 degrees centigrade, then it is the unstable environment. If with the bigger temperature difference, it is not yani, for example, for 100 meter, if the temperature difference is more than the 4 degrees centigrade, then it is more stable. So this is the classification of different temperature with the different temperature and the stability classification. People use this category ABCD to define that one. The instruments, various instruments and methods are used to measure the air quality, as well as the different parameter like the pressure, temperature, wind speed, humidity, velocity, temperature, turbulence. You have seen in the, if you have seen that RC television network, they always show the the weather condition in terms of the humidity, direction of the flow, velocity of the air, something like that. So there are various stations people place and they measure these things. This is one of the national weather map, which can be used to explain the weather condition by utilizing various colors, whether the air is stable or unstable, there is rainy environment or cloudy environment. All these kind of the things can be shown with this kind of the map. Similarly, for the ozone also, you can use the color coding to define if there is some ozone layer damage, then it can be shown here. As I told you that when the environment is stable, then the flow of the air is smooth. Here it is showing the different type of the plume which are emitting from the Michigan power plant. For example, in a stable condition, the plume move in a smoothly in one direction, but if it is a very unstable like this one, it will uh, go up quickly, and it is with the mixing, the more mixing is there. So that is the plume formation and its movement. It can also explain the atmospheric stability. uh, when we classify the stability, we can use some calculation also, like a power law profile is used to describe the variation of wind speed with height. in the surface boundary layer. For example, if you want to see the stability, you can calculate the uh, the u, which is the velocity at any element elevation z, and where the u1 is the velocity at 10 meter. So if you know the z1 is the elevation, the z1 generally, as I said, it is 10 meter, z is at any elevation, then you can use the known velocity, you can find out the what will be the velocity at that elevation. And this value of the p you can take from this environmental condition. For rural, yani for cities, these are the value. For urban and open area, you can use these values for different kind of the stability. You can take the value of the p here, you have the z, z1 and u1, you can calculate the velocity at any height z. So this is the wind velocity you can calculate from this formula. There is one scale also which can tell us that whether this is the flow of the air is smooth, or it is strong or violent, what kind of this one, which is called the Beaufort scale. This scale is helpful in getting the idea about the magnitude of the wind speed. And generally, if it is less than 1 miles per hour, then we can say that it is a calm atmosphere, smooth is there. If it is more than, for example, or around 60 miles per hour, we can say that it is violent storm is there, right? So this these are the things which can cause. So this is called as the Beaufort scale based on the wind speed, and these are the atmospheric condition according to this wind speed. So when we want to control the air pollution, we should work on that. We have the various method to control that one. For example, in for our case, we can use the bicycle or the we can walk it for a short distance to control the air pollution. Instead of using everybody in the car to going to the college and the school, we can have a pooling system in the car. We can ride in the bus also, right? And there are various ways. Don't use too much the air conditioning, the energy. So energy consumption led to the production of the energy. More energy, the more burning of the fuel. So these are the things which we can do to control the environment. So this is so it's all about the air pollution. Inshallah, I will put the other information in the so I will put the other information, related information, the blackboard. If you have any question, you can discuss with me on the blackboard. So inshallah, thank you very much.